to lose. Far away, far away. Ricochet, you take your aim. Far away, far away. You shoot me down.
On 11:16 SEN, Chasing Birdies with Mark Allen and Craig Spence for St Andrews Beach, the best public access golf course on the Australian mainland.
Evening, folks. Welcome to Chasing Birdies. The Aussies 5 for 333 after 100 overs. Maxwell on 34, Wade on 3, and the Aussies lead by 28 runs. Big show tonight always is when the 99 Australian Masters champion is feeling strong.
Marco, good to be in down at, guess where I've come from?
Where have you come from tonight?
Albert Park driving range.
Hey, good for you. You back giving lessons?
Yes, smashing a few down there.
Good
too.
on you.
Brand new balls too.
Brand new balls down at the Albert
Heaps of
Park
them.
driving range.
Heaps of them.
So you should normally keep that a secret. You don't want too many people to know because you want them all to yourself. But now that you've done this,
Really?
brand new balls, there is nothing better
They'd
than
be-
getting down to a driving range, particularly one like Albert Park, where the
Yes.
mats are magnificent and everything else. And you're down there, you probably just give a little tip every once in a while when you're walking down, getting the packet of chips in between lessons. You probably just help out, the kids and the ladies and the blokes trying
Of
to
course.
battle away.
I'm bowling everyone's left wrist at the moment.
Are you really
No,
after
I'm not.
last week?
No, I'm not actually, but you are.
I want to talk to you about that in a little bit. I do. I want to talk to you. What else is happening? Anything else happening down at Albert Park? I know you're going to be back there eventually.
Yeah, Titleist
What are they doing?
launching all their new irons and hybrids at the range every Thursday this month from 4 to 8. So
Righto.
that's big.
So that's great. Mate, all the new stuff. I love going down and checking out the new stuff. And when Titleist do it, they do it right. I'm a tailor-made man. I know that, and people know that. But when the Titleist stuff comes out and it's fresh and new, and you're thinking about trying stuff out, go down and hit the new balls down at Albert Park.
And also, they've got a big hole-in-one comp they're going to be doing. There's going to be a big prize, huge.
How big?
Huge prize. Actually, Ox would be good for that one.
$5,000?
More.
More than 5,000?
Yes.
Righto.
It's going to be good.
$10,000.
Yeah, I think you're getting warm.
Hey, we're looking forward to getting Mark Hayes on the program as well, the media manager from Golf Australia. Thanks to Kerr Lewis. You can read his stuff at golf.org.au. He is the only person I've heard of who thinks our international team has a chance to win the President's Cup. Yeah, I'm laughing at your face because not many people are saying the internationals are going to win.
Well, I was looking, and I'll pull the team up here in a minute.
Yeah,
I was
get it
looking at it today, which is unusual, right?
Yeah.
Our team drops off.
Pretty quick.
The American team never drops off.
Who's our number one this year? Hideki.
Well, yes.
Hideki be the number one.
We have got some guns. Don't worry about that. We've got some guns up the top.
Well, keep it for a little bit later.
Okay.
Keep it for a little bit later when we talk to Mark Hayes.
I will.
Let's talk about Justin Thomas, please, if you don't mind. 5 victories this season, 1 major, now 1 in the FedEx Cup, an important one. You win the first or the second, it kind of sets you up to get in that top 5. He's also shot a 63, which it was at the time at the US Open. And some of those 3 he was hitting. It was the lowest round ever in a major.
Yep.
And he also shot a 59. So he joined the 59 club. He shot the lowest round ever at one stage in a major.
Yep.
He won a major and won 4 more biggies. That's a reasonable sort of year, Craig.
Let's start talking turkey about this bloke then, Marco. How good do you think he's going to be? Because when I looked at Rory coming onto the scene, I looked at Rory and said, there's not really a big weakness here. But over time, he developed a little bit of a weakness with his putting.
Yeah.
If I look at Justin Thomas, I would have said putting was his weakness. Doesn't appear to be anymore.
Not anymore.
What's he done differently then?
I don't know. No, he's just on a roll.
Because you can't shoot those stupid low scores like he does. He's a great ball striker. He's a beautiful swinger of the club.
Who was that crazy pro on Happy Gilmore? Kept on saying you got to feel the flow.
I can't
Justin Thomas is feeling the flow. He is feeling the flow, mate.
What's he earned this year?
Well,
our man's on 5.
Well, look at it. Well, Mark Leishman, we'll talk about him in a tick as well. Mark Leishman's made $5 million US. So, I mean, he's only won once, and that's it. Justin Thomas, you work it out. So it's at least, well, it's $2 million this week, $2 million for the major, and 3 more. There's $7 million. That's just his wins.
Let's say
his wins.
9. Let's say 9. Plus he's on off-course bonuses for his major win and bonuses that would have been built into his contract. 15? He's going to be up
More.
around 15
More.
by the end of the year.
If he's won 10, let's assume he's won 10
Plus
million
he's
this
going to
year.
win the FedEx Cup too.
Plus he's going to win the FedEx Cup by the looks of it. Although Jordan Spieth, who came second, yeah, when you match up those two games,
Yep.
the only difference it seems to me that gets Jordan's nose in front is his mental ability in the putting. But Justin Thomas's game is so much bigger from tee to green and so much better, I reckon, from tee to green. But then you look at the stats, and guess who's pretty much the best iron player in the game?
Yeah, Spieth.
Spieth. So you watch him on TV and you just get this feeling that, Justin Thomas can override a golf course with just brute force and power and a little bit of accuracy.
Yep.
But when you really have a dig down at those numbers, Jordan Spieth's not only is the best putter in the game, he's the best iron player pretty much in the game. And that's proximity to the hole stats we're getting them from. We should dig those up as well at some stage.
Shooter McGovern.
No, it wasn't Shooter. Shooter was the world number one. It was the crazy dude.
The guy that...
The real lunatic pro who's been out there for a million years
remember
and he's
him.
got his little rituals and, that type of pro. I'm trying to think of a few now. I'll bring a
Dave
couple of names.
Rummels.
Dave Rummels?
Remember Dave Rummels? I played with Dave Rummels.
Was he a lunatic?
He used to side saddle it almost through impact.
What, when he putted?
No, when he hit,
When he hit it,
his hips got... It was like he was
spun
sitting
out so
down.
much.
It was like he was sitting down at impact.
I remember the name.
Dave Rummels.
I don't remember that. I don't remember the swing. There's a few lunatic golfers out there, though, but not quite Shooter McGavin.
The funny
Not
thing
quite
about
Shooter
Dave Rummels was
Yeah,
I was using a long putter when I played with him,
yeah,
right? And I remember I always used to think, what's he think of me using this long putter?
yeah.
Next day, Dave Rummels showed up with a long putter.
Did he really?
The next day, because I hold that many. Chubbs Peterson?
No,
Was it
not
Chubbs?
Chubbs. No,
No?
Chubbs was Apollo Creed, who was going to be the. I think they called him in
Lost
the
his-
movie. He was going to be the Black Arnold Palmer.
That's right.
I was going to be the Black Arnold Palmer. He kept on saying.
He lost his right arm?
Lost his right arm to a crocodile
Yeah, alligator.
or an alligator
One of the two.
playing in Florida.
Right arm or left arm?
I think he went to shake hands, didn't he? So it must have been the right. And Happy grabbed the wooden hand and ripped it off. That's
We've-
the way I remember it. I don't know this pro had a name. It was a crazy pro.
For,
Feeling the flow.
for people that aren't, Caddyshack is
Gary Potter.
legendary.
There it is.
Yeah?
Big Carl out the back's worked it out. Gary Potter.
Is that his name?
Yeah, not Harry Potter. Gary Potter.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there we go.
Do
Back
you-
on. Go on.
Do you rate that movie? What's it called again?
What do you mean? What's Happy Gilmore?
Happy Gilmore. Where do you rate it versus the other great golf movies? And I'll put Caddyshack up the
Oh,
top.
It's not in the top 5 for me. Happy Gilmore.
It's not.
There's some funny things in it,
Yeah.
but no, I think I've only watched it once or twice.
Yeah.
You?
Well, the younger generation think it's the
It's
new
it's the movie.
Caddyshack,
Yeah, that's right.
but it's actually garbage compared to.
Well, the younger generation
Caddyshack.
thinks Caddyshack is garbage. If you think Caddyshack is garbage and you love golf,
Ring in.
give us a call, please. 9429 1116. Chasing Birdies thanks to St Andrews Beach, the best public access golf course on the Australian mainland.
Jumbo and Jet Ozaki, somebody just text in as a weirdo. Ty Webb and Caddyshack, of course.
Yeah.
I played with Jumbo in.
You played with
in
Jumbo?
Japan, my first.
Did he do the cobra
No.
with his fist?
No, but the word was when I got up there. The word was when I found out I was playing with Jumbo. The word was that he had some links to the underworld.
Yeah.
You ever heard that?
Try it.
Yeah. The
Yeah, I did. Now you can tell me this because
and
What?
Norman pushed him against a locker and strangled him.
that's when he was
Apparently.
whacking down his 3-wood behind the
Yes.
ball,
Yes.
and I think Steve Elkington might have walked past the ball.
Yep.
They were playing. 3 of them were playing in the one group,
Yep.
and Steve Elkington walked past and thought, "Well, that's it. He's like hack that back out in the fairway. He's cooked." And he went up to his ball and looked back. Jumbo had 3-wood out, just smacking the grass down behind the ball and launched a 3-wood to the front edge.
I'll tell you about that in
It's
a minute. Do
unusual
you rate
behaviour.
Tin Cup? Do you rate Tin Cup?
Yeah, I liked Tin Cup. I
Yeah.
hated the finish.
Yeah, you didn't like the big score, did you?
No, stupid.
What about when he had the hosels on the range? Do you like that?
Yeah, I
Chili
did.
dips.
Yeah. I like that. I like all that. Yeah, Tin Cup was a ripper.
Jumbo,
The best game ever played, or the greatest game ever played. I like that one.
I haven't seen that.
What
No,
do you
no,
mean
I
you haven't said
I've
that?
heard that that's a great book.
Francis Me Wet.
We met.
We met.
Legend of Bag of Ants?
Yeah, pretty good.
No, terrible. Will Smith.
Why didn't you like Legend of Bag of Ants?
Will Smith, wasn't it? He's not a golfer.
No, he was a caddy, dude.
I know.
He was a
but
caddy.
You got to have that golfer in you to understand it. Was
Uh,
that Matt Damon? Was that Matt Damon as well?
Yeah, Matt Damon, and he took on Bobby Jones, and was it? What was his name? Walter Hagen.
That's right. And he beat him, didn't he?
Oh,
True story, I think.
probably not. I'm not sure Bag of Ants was running around back in those days.
Just
Hey,
quickly,
yeah.
Jumbo.
Yes, what
had
did he
a
do?
It was 150 out. Started off with a 3-wood,
Yep.
right in the rough.
Yeah,
Started
so-
off with a 3-wood.
So tapping the 3-wood behind
and
the ball,
then
yeah.
ended up hitting about an 8-iron onto the green.
So he just
just
for
rubbed.
people here, watch this. So for people who don't understand what this means, he was 150 yards out. Yards?
Pretty much. For the story, yes.
Righto. So he gets a 3-wood out and sits the 3-wood behind the ball,
Yeah.
just kind of thinking, I wonder if this 3-wood will come out, and kind of gives it a bit of a
Yeah.
rub and looks up at the where he's going and taps it down behind the ball
I thought
and
it
looks
was-
back out. Maybe I can get, a 5-iron, gets a 5-iron out probably and starts putting the 5-iron behind it and just
Yep.
pressing down a
No.
little bit more grass. No, that'd be right. And by the time he's done, he's just got the 9-iron out.
Well, the good thing is,
It's probably not even a fly by the time he's done.
no, it looked like he was trying to start a fire behind the ball. Right? The good thing is, though, you start with the 3-wood. By the time you get to the wedge, you can get the leading edge under the back of the ball.
And that's why you brought up the triads, wasn't it? Because you couldn't have dobbed him in
No.
because the triads would have nailed
They
you.
were looking at me.
They would have. Now tell me this:
All right.
did his caddy have a caddy?
Yes.
Yes.
And after the game, he sat down at a little table,
Yeah.
and 300 or 400 Japanese people queued up and waited
For an
him to
autograph?
sign something of theirs.
Signed something.
Yeah.
So the guy who actually carried his clubs on the course, he had a guy. He felt the work on the driving range was beneath him,
Yes, correct.
so he had a caddy to wash the
Helping.
grips.
Yes.
And just do what was necessary on the warm up in the driving range.
Yes.
And once the warm up and the clubs were clean and the grips were all nice and dried and everything was perfect,
Yes.
that caddy would then give it to the A1 caddy.
The second caddy
On the first tee.
never handed anything directly to Jumbo,
What?
the number 2 caddy. Only the number 1 caddy would.
Oh, so the caddy's
Talk
caddy
to-
couldn't speak.
No.
Couldn't speak.
If I remember rightly, that's correct. You know who else did that?
who else
Steve
did?
Williams used to do that, is what I'm
Oh,
told.
Steve Williams never had a caddy.
No, when he was in
What?
caddy-
Raymond Floyd? Raymond Floyd days?
oh, I thought Steve Williams was doing that when he was in South Africa.
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
No, I don't think so. Steve was quite happy to wash the grips.
Yakuza.
Who's Yakuza?
The Yakuza, not
Oh, not the
triads.
triads. The Yakuza.
Yeah.
Where are the triads? Oh,
Yeah.
no. Well, what country are the triads from? Whoever sent in the Yakuza?
They're Korean probably.
All right. You know
else
more than
was-
me
what
about
else
the
was I
bad
gonna-
guys. Don't worry about that.
All right.
I found some stats.
Yep.
This is amazing. Go to page 2 of your rundown.
All right. Oh,
Now, what you'll see there, after we
the
had a
glasses.
chat about Justin Thomas, somebody bothered to go. Now, all the Champions Tour players. So, Fred Couples, who's 57, Kenny Perry, who's 57, Scott McCarron, who's 52, and cheats with his putter. Jesper Parnevik is 52, Lee Jansen's 53, Bernard Lang is 60, who also has a bit of an issue with the long putter.
Yep.
Miguel Angel Jimenez, 53, Tom Lehman, 58, Marco Mira, 60. So, all these guys on the Champions Tour,
Yep.
Colin Montgomery, 54, they had a look how far they actually hit the ball when they were 30 years old. So the stats have been going around for a long time. So Fred Couples, when he was 30, he was averaging 272.6 yards
Yep.
for the entire season.
Yep.
27 years later, when he's can hardly move, he's now driving it 27.8 yards longer than
Unbelievable.
when he was 30 years old. Kenny Perry, now that's the biggest mover. So he's actually increased 10% in his distance from the time he was 30 years old.
Unbelievable.
Kenny Perry, who is also 57 and a long hitter.
Yep.
His average distance these days is 295. Back when he was 30 years old, whatever year that must have been, 270. Kenny Perry's put on 24.2.
That's 9.
This is impossible. It is absolutely impossible, Craig.
Yeah.
Scotty McCarron, 52. So 293, one of the longer hitters. Back when he was 30, just 271. That's 20. That's plus 20. Bernard Langer. How about this one?
Yep.
Barnyard Hanger is now 60.
Yep.
Back when he was 30 years old and as strong as a bull,
Yep.
he was only hitting the ball 260 yards.
Yep.
Now, a 60-year-old is averaging 280 yards off the tee.
Average.
So, can you see what's going? I mean, what the hell is going on? Oh, yeah. The next one. I wish they had it. I wish they had clubhead speed, because that's the big one.
Well, that'd be easy to figure out.
Well, I know mine.
What is yours now?
Mine's around 104 miles per hour.
What does it start?
Pretty lazy.
Starts at 99, does it? And peaks over.
No.
When you first hit your first driver on TrackMan, what's it measure at?
Don't know. I just did a bunch of them and then started. Then someone noticed. Last time I checked, it was 104. A couple at 105. That was it.
Okay.
When I was 22, I was 119, 120.
Cool, that's fast.
But I'm hitting the ball further now when I've got 15 miles per hour less.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's not right. Do you know? Go on, keep going.
Well, I was just going to say, the two interesting ones to me there are that Monty doesn't hit it that much further because probably he's so out of shape.
He can hardly move, yeah. He can hardly move, the big fella. What about Daly?
Daly, I think because he was so fast back in the day, and it's a unique action, that long one.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't work as you get older.
So back when he was 30 years old, what was he averaging? 288. But I think one year, when he was flying, back in 91, 92, I think he was right up. He was the first guy to average over 300.
Yeah.
So that when he was 30, he was probably cooked on the gas. He was drinking every night, drinking beer and chocolate for breakfast and a steak.
All right.
Probably not the best preparation to play your greatest golf, I would have thought.
I'm going to hit you with a real question.
Yeah, go on.
We all agree that the ball is now so far out of control that we are now risking... We are risking all our great golf courses here.
Yeah.
All of them.
I'm glad you mentioned this.
Okay.
Because I just picked this up from Jeff Shackelford's website, which I quite often jump on. If you haven't jumped on Jeff Shackelford's website and you love golf, you don't know what you're doing. There's a little note here. Next year's US Open is going to be a Golden Age Classic, Shinnecock Hills. Artful in the extreme, but also shortish. It's a shortish, open venue. It's the kind of venue that is most at risk of being overrun by the modern game. In the last few years, Bill Corr and Ben Crenshaw, they restored the course. These two guys are the best in the business at restoration.
Yep.
They're great designers as well, and they've done some magical stuff. But as far as restoration goes, these guys have dominated. The fairways were widened up to 60 yards. Some of the fairways got widened up to 60 yards. So not an extra 60 yards, up to 60 yards wide. The greens expanded and trees were removed. Visually, the result was spectacular, apparently. And the club's members have loved the changes. So it is pure. Now, the USGA initially sang the restoration's praises, saying how wonderful it was. You've done some great stuff here. You've opened up some angles for this pin placement. You've opened up an angle for this pin placement. But they have recently reconsidered their original setup plans at Shinnecock. The fairway width, done to create more strategic angles and options, was deemed too wide, perhaps in the wake of Erin Hills, is what they're saying, because they had some wide fairways with the soft greens. Native fescue rough is now being planted on the edges of the fairways to narrow them back down. The course won't be as narrow as it was when they held the championship in 86, 95 and 2004, but it will be narrower than what was originally planned on for 2018. Now, that's a year on from now, so the boys will be hitting an extra 2 or 3. They'll find another 2 or 3. You can absolutely guarantee that. And by the way, we're live on Facebook again tonight. Head to facebook.com/SEN 1116 if you want to check out the 1999 Australian Masters champ. So if the big boys go to Shinnecock and the fairways aren't quite as wide, or they just a little bit wider than what they were back, when Corey Pavin was winning US Opens there.
Yep.
And let's say they get 4 reasonable days of weather, reasonable, and they rip hell out of that golf course, an old classic, shoot 20 under or something. What's gonna be the last straw? What's it gonna take for the ball to be stopped? Because we can't have, how many more courses do we have to half destroy or half make irrelevant by the distance this ball travels for the best players in the world?
I wonder if Augusta might come to the rescue on this one day. I think.
Do you like purification?
I think that we're heading. Yeah, I do.
So that's a ball for the pros and the ball for everybody else.
Yep.
I'll tell you what. Let's take a break. We'll ask Mark Hayes about this after the break as well. He wants to talk about the President's Cup. We might chat to him about this as well, because I'm not a big fan of purification. I think they should make the ball spin again. Pretty simple.
Yep.
And just put a cap on it so the ball has to spin. Like I said, we're live on Facebook again tonight. Head to facebook.com/SEN1116 and Chasing Birdies thanks to St Andrews Beach, the best public access golf course on the Australian mainland.
On 1116 SEN, Chasing Birdies with Mark Allen and Craig Spence for St Andrews Beach, the best public access golf course on the Australian mainland.
Welcome back, folks, and we're live on Facebook again tonight. Head to facebook.com/SEN1116. Mark Hayes is the Golf Australia Media Manager, brought to you by Kerr Lewis. You can read his stuff at golf.org.au. G'day, Hazy.
Okay, good, Spency.
Hey, I read your article today about the President's Cup, and you reckon the internationals are a chance, and I want to talk to you about that in a tick, but I also want to get your view on this study that's just been done. They've gone and had a look at a bunch of Champions Tours players, Hazy, Fred Couples, Kenny Perry, Scott McCarron, Bernard Langer, all these guys, the ones I've called out anyway, they're 57. Bernard Langer, for argument's sake, is 60. And the differences that they're driving now compared to when they were pretty much at their strongest, way back when they were 30. And some of these guys are hitting the ball 10% longer now, Mark. 10% longer now.
I saw those stats with John Daly. I think he's hitting at 11 or 12 yards further. And I know that there's a lot of people who will put it down to, biological work, as in they've been in the gym or they've got better swing dynamics or everything like that. But I'm telling you right now, from the age of 30 to age 51, John Daly's putting 1,000-fold more burgers into his guts than he's been into gyms.
I think that's accurate. What about someone like Fred Couples? He's got like a crook back. Has had a crook back for a long time. I know there's some miracle surgery going around at the moment, but when he was 30, he was one of the longest players we'd ever seen at 272.6 yards. Now, crook back and all, age 57, he's averaging 300 yards. That's plus 27.8 yards average.
He might be the pin-up boy for the argument you're trying to make here, because 25 years ago, I think 92, he won the Masters. We all just sat there and just marvelled at his swing. I mean, we all think Jeff Ogilvy's got a beautiful swing. Well, he looks rusty compared to Fred Couples at his prime. Like, he couldn't swing it better. His back was so supple, and he's had that many problems that he could not be physically better than he was 25 years ago just by what he's had happen to him. Yet he makes that ridiculous difference now on his driving stats. I mean, it has to tell you that things have changed more than the stats suggest that the RNA and the USGA present all the time. So, there's a combination of things. There's no doubt about that. And I love the work and the research that, Callaway and TaylorMade and Titleist all do in their labs. But it's gone too far for the average golf course to contend with in the big players.
It's a massive issue, isn't it, Hazy and Marco? I mean, when we consider the industry that revolves around the golf companies, and not only the golf companies, but, the amount of people that come to the game and they enjoy the equipment side of it. But
so golf courses too, Craig.
I'm worried about our classic courses that are in jeopardy. Royal Melbourne's probably already gone. I hate to say it.
Well, the Commerce course probably hangs on, but if they just went or played the East or the West, my God, they'd rip it apart.
It's not a problem for choppers like me. It is for you guys. It's all about the value of the ball being used to its fullest when you reach a certain speed with your swing. And For average choppers like me, that's not a problem. But when you get up to your pro speeds that you guys swing at and everyone who's on the tour swings at, that's when these balls just explode. So I don't think Royal Melbourne's obsolete at all for 99.8% of golfers. But for how it was designed by Alistair McKenzie for championships with in mind, some of those holes now, they're, 2 west. I mean, that is a driver and an 8-iron for these guys now. It's a par 5.
Less than that. I remember when we first went from a wound ball to it was a 3-piece ball back in the day, and it was a Pro V. I don't think it was a Pro V1. It might have been called something else, Hazy. But I remember we used to play Royal Melbourne Composite all the time, and it was a driver and a 2-iron or a 3-wood to the second hole all the time, without question, into the wind, downwind. And then after the 5-year break, we came back with the new ball, and a few of us metal 3-woods and probably a lot of metal drivers back then. But it went from the driver with a Persimmon driver and a 2-iron to a 3-wood and a 6-iron. And that was in a 4-year. It was ridiculous.
Well, hopefully people who are listening to this have actually seen Royal Melbourne and know the hole we're talking about. But the guys, even off the furthest back tee now, don't even look at the fairway out the middle. Even into a stiff southwesterly breeze, they just bomb it over the bunker and the trees on the right there. So it is not a par 5 anymore. It's, in fact, for that matter, it's a short par 4 once you take off that dog leg. So, it's not a problem, as I say, for choppers like me. But it definitely is once you unwind the potential of this ball. And I'm not saying it's the ball manufacturer's fault, far from it. It's just a progression in technology, and I think we need to stamp on it now. Otherwise, these courses will become obsolete for tournament play.
Do you guys remember hearing about, none of us will remember it, but they used to play with a small ball, and then they went to a big ball, and they were allowed to play with both at one point.
Yeah, I played with the small ball when I first started.
All right. Yeah. And the small ball went quite a lot further than the big ball.
Yes, and it went in the hole easier.
And it went in the hole easier. And at one point, you were allowed to use both, and then they changed the rule that you must use the conforming large ball. And the average punter at Huntingdale, Medway, Colac was allowed to purchase whatever ball they wanted to.
That's right.
Guess which ball they were all buying?
The big ball.
The big ball, every one of them.
Yeah, it was easier to hit.
So the question remains that if we did go to bifurcation...
Bifurcation, yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
One or the other.
Well, it's somewhere between those two. Colac Tech and South Oakley Tech. Yeah.
Oakley Tech, yeah. Doesn't matter.
I'm backing in Colac. It's definitely bifurcation.
So what do you reckon? Do you reckon most amateurs would want to use... Do you think most amateurs would use the Pro Ball?
I'm saying
that
maybe you'd have to ask the question.
I'd hate to see it.
I just think the time's come for bifurcation with the pro game. The balls that the pros currently use now just don't give that massive Fred Couples, John Daly style benefit that those guys are getting. It doesn't really affect the course the way they're playing it. But the pros, they're not getting 1%, 2% difference. They're getting 10, 15, 20% difference. It's off the charts in some instances. You just see these guys on the weekend lining up at TPC Boston, hitting 3-woods into the necks of fairways that are 330 yards long.
Yeah, craziness. And Hazy, I know what you're saying with the speed, but I reckon what actually happens, some of these guys with the swing speed, they're actually still using a 9.5 or an 8-degree driver, and they're usually a little bit open, which means if you open up a club, it even makes them less. So, someone like I've seen a few guys using a 9.5-degree driver that's open, so it ends up being 8. So you're using an 8-degree driver with a ball that does not, it's a missile. It has got to a whole level now where, and what we're talking about, folks, and let me just explain this because it was a great SMS, and I'll explain it in a tick. But why, now this comes from, don't know, why is 20 under a problem? It's a competition between the players on those 4 days, not against the previous totals. That is exactly right. 20 under is not the problem. It's the shot that are supposed to be hit on these golf holes that aren't being hit anymore. And the shot value, the ball is going so far that it's destroying where these shots are supposed to be played to a hole. And we want to see the cut 4-iron into a back right hole. We don't want to see these guys anymore bomb the drive 350 yards and flip their lob wedge to the back edge. I mean, that's not what these golf courses were designed to do. And you pay your money, you want to see guys really shape their ball, I would have thought.
Mark,
Anyway,
correct
that's
me if I'm wrong, but I reckon you said it a few weeks ago. I think it was Jordan Spieth who's not the longest hitter of the ball when he wins at Royal Birkdale. I think there were 2 times for the week he used more than a 6 iron to a green.
That's right.
That's not how Open Championship courses were designed.
That's supposed to be the longest guy, the crazy longest guy.
The crazy longest guy, and the wind will be able to have an impact on that. As it was not great weather, and the guys are hitting flick wedges and 9 irons and 8 irons in. You just don't get to see those beautiful link-style bounce-up shots, and you just don't get to see the fairway bunkers as they were designed. There's so many reasons why.
I know it gets everyone worked up, this topic, Hazy, but we've got to move on. Tell me this. Why do you think the internationals are in with a chance, considering how strong that American team is this year?
Yeah, on paper, clearly the US is going to start a massive red-hot favourite, and I get that and understand why. And we're spotting them more than 100 spots difference if you add up all their world rankings. So I get that they're going to start red-hot favourites. But in Matsuyama, Day, if he fires, and a handful of other guys, we've actually got some world-class players here other than just Adam Scott, who's largely carried the can for the last few times. And I just think that there's 4 or 5 Americans who are untried at this level, and there's more international players than we've ever had before who are capable of doing something special on the day. We saw Adam Hadwin shoot a 59 earlier this season. The other guys who are in, Siwoo Kim can do anything. He's a freak show. There's just a handful of guys at the bottom end of the international team who've got a bit of flair that I don't think we've had before. And I think on their day, they're more than capable of stitching up one of these American newcomers for sure.
Hazy, I'm looking at the teams in front of me. I looked at them earlier today as well. And the first thing earlier today that I noticed was the drop-off around number 8, 9 and 10 for us, Siwoo Kim, Jonathan Vegas, Adam Hadwin, right?
Is that the world rankings?
Where they place on the list. Not so much world rankings, but they're just their names. I'm looking at them and going maybe 1 win, 3 wins maybe between the 3 of them, or maybe a handful, right? But now I'm looking up the top as well, and I'm going Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Ricky Fowler, Skip Berger, Koepka, and Kisner, and then Patrick Reed's down the bottom. Yeah. I'm going off my head. This is a guaranteed US win this year, Hazy. Yeah. I've got to tell you.
Berger's just a top 5
unbelievable,
machine. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, obviously that's the way it's going to shape up on paper. I just think that Matsuyama could take anyone down on his day, and I mean anyone. He could beat Dustin Johnson.
Yes.
I think Jason Day is warming to it. Whether he's hot by that stage, who knows? But those bottom 3 that you mentioned, Jonathan Vegas, Siwoo Kim, and Adam Hadwin may never win a major between them, but they're going to win their share of tour events based on the fact that they can go low. And I really think that match play suits the international team. And what they have done in this format this time, as opposed to they brought it in Korea, is there's 1 less foursome and 1 less 4-ball match every time. So we don't have to have the depth that the Americans traditionally sort of, flaunt over us. So I don't know. I'm clutching at straws, Spency, but I want to make sure they're fired up for it.
Hazy, just quickly, we got to keep moving, but the Asian Pacific Juniors, now what's happening here?
Yeah, we had a really good result there on the weekend, Marco. I know you've been really interested in keeping tabs on how all our young guys are going. We sent a development team from Victoria as a second team to the number 1 team of Jed Morgan from Queensland and Grace Kim from Sydney. They were absolutely phenomenal, the top 2, and walked away with a silver medal.
Sensational.
And I just really, there's some really good kids coming through in the next few years behind all the ones we've seen in the last few years too. So great effort. Keep your eye on the name of Jed Morgan, and Grace Kim's a beauty too.
Good on you, Hazy. Thanks for coming on Chasing Birdies. We very much appreciate it. Looking forward to getting down to Kerr Lewis at some stage as well and having another hit, because it is one of the best golf courses you will ever see. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Hazy.
Good on you. Mark Hayes there, the Golf Australia Media Manager. You can read his stuff at golf.org.au. You can get your handicap there as well these days. Make sure you check it out. What are we doing next, buddy? We got a quiz. We got a quiz, the sportsbet.com.au quiz. Now, when you call up, don't hang up. We're going to get the first 4 callers. Someone's going to win a $100 betting voucher. Thanks to sportsbet.com.au.
On 1116 SEN, Chasing Birdies with Mark Allen and Craig Spence for St Andrews Beach, the best public access golf course on the Australian mainland.
Now, the SEN Open Line, thanks to Get Wines Direct. Online wines made easy and the best deals every single day. We've got Harry, Mick and Benny and Noel. They've all called in on 9429 1116. Nobody else. Sorry to everybody else. But we've only got time for a very quick quiz, Craig Spence. So let's get going, please. Right. Harry, you all set?
Correct.
Righto, let's go.
I'm in.
All right, Harry. Justin Thomas won last week in Boston. How many is that this season on the US Tour?
Oh, I would say 5.
Bang.
Well done, H.
No.
There's a dinger.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Justin Thomas also joined an exclusive club this season, and so did Adam Hadwin. What club? What club did they join?
Oh, they've made the team for the President's Cup.
Oh, bad luck. Well, they have, but that's not the club we're talking about.
That's true.
That's a team. That's not a club.
Stay on,
Stay on, Harry H. Don't go anywhere. Mick's next in Bundoora. G'day, Mick.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Yeah, good.
Good, Mick. What club did they join? Do you want the question again?
No, the 59 Club.
Well done, buddy.
There's been one lower round on the US Tour, a 58. Who was that, Mick?
Not Levine.
No.
Levine.
Spencer Levine.
He might have broken 58 clubs, but he hasn't shot a 58. I don't think, Mick.
Oh, this bloke will know it.
Benny's in Parkdale. G'day, Benny.
G'day, boys. How you going?
Yeah, well.
Good, mate.
Who shot the one lower? Someone
just
shot a
trying to think.
58.
Shot 58.
Someone shot a 58, Benny.
Come on, Benny.
Mr. Furyk.
Yeah.
Whee, got it. He got it. Last question.
Last question is, Mark Leishman finished third last week after shooting 30 on the front 9 of the last round. What did he shoot on the back 9, Benny?
Was it
30 on the front?
9?
No. Bad luck. Noel, you can pinch the lot. G'day, Noel.
You there, Noel?
Yeah.
Righto. He shot 30 on the front. What did he shoot on the back?
40.
Spot on.
Noel, good call.
That is the big donger. Now, thanks to sportsbet.com. You got an account set up with sportsbet.com.au, Noel?
No, I actually haven't. I've got
no.
all the others, but not Sportsbet.
Sure, that's not good enough, Noel. You'll have to set one up tonight, please, if you don't mind. Now, we're going, because it's a bit of a break on the FedEx Cup, we're going to, where are we going?
Switzerland, Amiga Euro Masters.
Righto, so Alex Noren's the favourite and plays well there too. $11, that's good value. Tommy Fleetwood's at $13. Weisberger at $26. Fitzpatrick, who is one of my favourites, at $26. Westwood's $29. Ross Fisher's at $29.
Yep.
This is the sort of place that Ross Fisher lights up. That little over-the-top shut action does well. Right, Ramsey's $31. Who else is there?
Chris Wood,
Ryan Fox,
yeah.
$41. Jamie Donaldson. I tell you what, the one I'd keep my eye on. Marcos Fraser at $151.
Oh, yes.
Bit of value there. Up so high, the ball will be going a million miles.
Love it.
Who do you want, Noel?
Tommy Fleetwood.
Tommy Fleetwood. Basically going with a favourite, have you,
Watches
Noel?
his golf, Noel, I reckon.
Is that right? All right, good on you, Noel. Thank you, sir. Leave your details, please, if you wouldn't mind. Get on sportsbet.com.au and get an account going. And hopefully Tommy Fleetwood can be the winner there in Switzerland. Thanks, bud.
I'll tell you about this tournament when we come back.
Yeah.
If you want.
Well, have you played it?
Yeah, nearly won it.
What?
No, I played final group there.
Is that right?
Last round.
Did you just say that David Branston's watching the show on Facebook?
Yes.
G'day, Branston. How are you, mate? Nice to have you on board.
Good man.
We'll take a quick break, and then we're going to hear how Craig Spence almost won this tournament after the break.
On 1116 SEN, Chasing Birdies with Mark Allen and Craig Spence for St Andrews Beach, the best public access golf course on the Australian mainland.
Bloody hell, Spark. There's been a couple of wickets in the cricket. Australia now 8 for 364. What happened? Ashton Agar's still there. He's 18 off 12. Hits the ball beautifully, Ashton Agar. Very sweetly. And O'Keefe is the new man at the crease. So that means Hilton Cartwright 18 off 28. And Matty Wade is out, LBW 8 off 31.
He'll be a gun, that Agar.
I think they love him too.
I know someone else who loves him.
Who's that?
You.
Yeah, I like him.
You
I
just
do
like him.
I do
All
like
right.
him. No, I think he's going to be a very good bowler. I do. And I'll tell you what he is going to get. He's going to get a big run because he can bat.
I told a little lie before. I didn't nearly win it.
Did you
I
play
played,
there?
I played last round with Ernie in the last group.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, that's close to winning it.
It
But
was
it's not nearly
pretty good.
winning it.
It was pretty good.
How many behind Ernie were you when you started the day in the last
a
group?
couple, I think.
What did Ernie shoot?
I can't remember. I can't even remember who won it.
So Ernie
It's bad.
didn't win it.
wasn't- No, he didn't.
You played with
But-
Ernie Els in the last group in Switzerland.
Ernie Eels.
There he
This is
goes.
what happened, though.
And he didn't win it.
I hit a shot. I can't remember. Must have been about the 4th or 5th hole. It's downhill, dead straight.
Yeah.
And the green is down against a fence line, and there's some trees along the fence.
Right.
Right?
I get it.
And I've hit it down in against those trees, and I could not figure out how to get this ball out of there. I had no backswing.
So why did you go back to where you hit from?
Because I didn't want to go back, because I didn't want to waste money, Marco. I really needed it.
Right? I understand.
So I'm trying everything I can think of. I'm even thinking about hitting it with the grip. I mean, I'm trying everything. And Ernie's getting more and more pissed off waiting.
Yeah, he is an angry man.
He is not happy.
He doesn't look like an
So
angry man,
I
but he was an angry dude.
I hit it with a 2-inch backswing, I reckon.
Yeah, and how far to go?
It just gets out far enough that I can chip it on. I think I make my bogey. I can't remember.
That's not too bad.
He is looking at me like that was a fudge.
Did he?
He was.
He thought you pushed it?
He thought I pushed it. I did not push it.
It
was a
you used the front of the club or the back of the club?
I used the front of the club,
Ooh, that's
and
the
I got
pushing
just
club.
enough compression
That's
on
how
it
you push it.
to leave the club face.
I believe you.
It didn't stay on the face.
I believe
I'm sure of it.
I believe
All
you,
right.
buddy.
No worries.
What do you? What seriously? Last question, all right? Last one, because we've only got about 40 seconds.
Okay.
What's it gonna take? And I want to leave this with everybody else.
Yeah.
And give me the answer next week. What is it gonna take for the people who run the game to bring the ball back 10%? That's it. Just 10%.
Should we talk about that one next week?
No, I've already talked about it this week.
I don't know, Marco. Maybe hard greens. Really, really hard
No,
greens.
it doesn't matter. It just
True.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
People like David Branston and who's the other bloke I was watching a second ago?
Branson hasn't hit a long iron into a par 4 for 20 years.
Probably hasn't. Coming up, the bush and the burbs with Paul Daffy. Spark, thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
And Finey, thanks for letting us talk golf on your show.
Melbourne's home of footy is always crystal clear on the SEN app, so down.